I used to search the night for people who prayed, not to join them. Back then, I believed power was something you take, not something you receive. I studied faces for fractures, pride like a hairline crack in glass, anger like a door left on the latch. If I found a crack, I could lean a whisper through it and watch a life wobble. But there were others, quiet ones, whose prayers rose like steam from a winter cup, vanishing to a place I couldn't follow. My words slid off them, my intentions fizzled. They carried something I couldn't counterfeit. If you've ever felt your prayers ricochet off the sky, if you've ever wondered why some are easily shaken while others walk through storms and don't even flinch, hear me. There are 4 hidden protections I learned to fear, protections that made certain prayers untouchable. I didn't learn them in a church pew. I learned them with smoke in my hair, ash under my nails, and a smile that never reached my eyes. Lean in. This is my testimony. This message matters because so many of us are praying from a place we don't understand. We imagine volume is power, or that eloquence is a key, when all along the unseen battle is about alignment, about the heart you carry into the words you speak. I'm speaking to the tired and the brave, the ones who whisper help into a dark room. I'm speaking to the skeptic who's felt the chill of a presence you can't name, and to the faithful who wonders why you still feel fragile. I'm speaking as someone who once tried to bend the world with my will and discovered the world has its own wind. What I found on the other side of the night didn't make me louder, it made me clean, and that changed everything. I didn't become a witch because I hated light. I became one because I hated feeling small. Power sounded like a cure for the childhood rooms where I learned to be invisible, for the hands that weren't there when they should have been. I found circles where we named control a virtue, where we told ourselves that if we could just harness more, we'd hurt less. I learned the language of symbols and silence, of watching. I found out that people are full of little doors. Ego leaves one open, resentment leaves another. Secrets, the kind that throb when you try to sleep, leave the biggest door of all. I walked through those doors more times than I want to admit. But then there was Miriam, small, ordinary, the kind of woman the world overlooks. She didn't pray like she was auditioning, she prayed like someone speaking to a friend she trusted. I tried, in my old way, to read her. I reached for the familiar handles, pride, anger, shame, and I came up empty. Standing there, I felt foolish, like I was shadowboxing in sunlight. I met others like her, and the pattern haunted me. Where there was a certain kind of quiet in a person, my interference had no purchase. Where there was congruence, what they prayed and how they lived matched, my influence fell to the ground. I knew the tricks. I could smell fear across a room, but with these people, nothing stuck. My power met a kind of softness that wasn't weak, it was unbribable. It was a life-shaped prayer. Here is the first protection I learned to fear: surrender of authority. Not the kind that bows to anyone who shouts louder, but the kind that consents to love itself. The loudest prayers were easy to disturb. The surrendered ones were not. When someone prays from their own ego, it's a stack of cards. Nudge it and it collapses. But when a person recognizes they are not the source, that there is a God who is good, and they have placed their life under that goodness, my old ways couldn't bully that. Humility sealed what I would have called access points. Pride is porous. Humility is airtight. The second protection was a cleansed conscience. Don't romanticize it. It isn't theatrics or self-abuse. It's confession and forgiveness, the raw kind. Resentment was for me a handle. If you clutched a grudge like a talisman, I could tug it and pull you off center. But if you had forgiven, really forgiven, which is different from forgetting, there was nothing to grip. People who kept short accounts, who told God the truth about their own shadows and asked for cleansing, had a kind of inner clarity. Shame could be spoken and therefore had no power. Secrets are leverage. Truth is a locked door. The third protection was integrity, alignment between words and life. I used to count on hypocrisy the way a thief counts on an unlocked window. You say you want peace, but feed on outrage. You pray for purity and entertain what poisons you. The split is an invitation. But I met men and women whose lives had been arranged around their prayers. They turned off what dimmed the light inside them. They apologized when they were wrong. They didn't weaponize their hurt. They were not perfect, but they were pointed, and that aim made their prayers arrow true. Consistency builds a wall even a storm respects. The fourth protection was community, honest companionship, the kind that tells you you're drifting and stays anyway. Isolation is where I found most people. Lone wolves are easy to spook, but when someone wasn't praying alone, when they had a circle of voices who could remind them of what was true, my old pressure couldn't isolate them or gaslight them. Light multiplies in company. When they faltered, someone else held the line. When they doubted, another lent belief. That chorus made a canopy. I could not break through what they had chosen together. My turning was on a winter night that smelled like rain on stone. I was tired of being a room with too many doors. A friend, one of the quiet ones, asked if she could pray for me. Everything in me wanted to laugh it off, but exhaustion is honest. So I nodded. She didn't shout, she didn't posture, she called me by my name. She spoke to God like he was near. She thanked him for loving me before I ever knew how to love him, and then she was silent. The silence hit my chest like a bell. It was not empty, it was full. I realized in that moment that the power I had chased was a mirror, and I had been arguing with my own reflection. What I felt in that room was not an argument, it was presence. It did not humiliate me, it invited me. The old control in me flailed for a handle and found none. I broke, not because I was defeated, but because I was finally safe enough to put down the weapons. I have not returned to the circles I once called home. I turned, and when I turned, the night did not swallow me. Something brighter did. If your prayers feel stoppable, don't shout louder. Make your life quieter and truer. Bow your authority. Say out loud right where you are that you're not the source, and you don't want to be, that you want your will braided with God's, not over it. Let humility seal what pride leaves open. Tell the whole truth. Confess what aches. Forgive what grips you, again and again if you must, until your hands are empty. That emptiness is not loss, it's space for an answer. Align what you say with what you do. Turn off the drain that empties your soul. Choose small obediences, the kind no one applauds, and watch how your inner walls harden into stone. And find your people, not a crowd to perform for, but a circle to be known by. Let them see you. Pray with them. Let someone hold your name when your mouth is too heavy to lift it. I am an ex-witch, yes, but more than that, I'm someone who discovered that prayer is not magic words, it is relationship. It isn't leverage, it is surrender. And the 4 hidden protections that make your prayers unstoppable are not talismans to carry, they are a way of being to inhabit. Live under love, keep your conscience clean, match your steps to your words, and refuse to stand alone. Do this, and the night will have nothing to bargain with. I know, because I used to look for bargains. You don't need to become impressive, you need to become honest. The heavens are not impressed, they are moved by truth. Your prayer becomes unstoppable to any whisper, any scheme, any shadow, when the prayer has already done its first work, changing you. That is the gate every darkness cannot pass. Become the kind of person whose life is the Amen, then watch what happens when you speak. Here is my last line, the one I carry now like a scar that has learned to shine. The most powerful prayer is the one that leaves no handle in you for darkness to hold.